Hello there, my name is Brittany. Welcome back to my channel, and today you're gonna be watching me read some 2021 sci-fi releases.
It's Brittany, bitch.
As you may know, sci-fi is one of my favorite genres, but for some reason I just don't seem to read that much of it. I think it's because it's not very popular on booktubes. It's like John Marr's sci-fi thrillers, and I wanted to try something different. The first book that I have for this is Holdout by Jeffrey Kluger, and I actually got this as an ARC. I received an email from the publisher asking if I would like a widget, which basically means that I get the ebook, and I accepted, and I'm really looking forward to this. I really obviously love sci-fi, and it takes place in space. By the way, this was published on August 3rd, 2021. So all I really know about this novel is that we are following a female astronaut who is basically trying to seek justice from the International Space Station. And I really don't know much more than that. I have not read any reviews ruining it for me. I just kind of want to go in pretty much blind, especially since it was offered to me as a widget and it was offered to me from the publisher. Like, I feel very special. I'm just gonna give it like my full unbiased attention. The second novel I'll be reading for this is Hummingbird, Salamander by Jeff Vandermeer, and Jeff Vandermeer also wrote Annihilation, which I have not yet read, which was going to be my first book of his that I did read because I know Annihilation is very, very popular, but this one just caught my eye and the cover is just gorgeous, and I actually have this from my library. This is basically a speculative, dark conspiracy thriller about like endangered species and like eco-terrorism and climate change. Basically, we're following a security consultant. Her name is Jane Smith. That's what she calls herself, and she's talking to us. Like, it's almost like we're like reading her journal, but like she's talking to you. And she basically receives an envelope with a storage unit key, and then she finds a taxidermied hummingbird that is endangered, and then goes on to find a salamander that is endangered. And she's like basically trying to like piece together like what is going on in this thriller. I don't even really know yet. I have no idea, but that's all I got for you. And I'm actually 90 pages into this. I decided to pick this one up first because it goes back to my library in a couple of days, so I wanted to finish it. But I'm 90 pages in, and it's only taking me like 3 days to get there. So I don't really actually have high hopes for this. I'm just finding the writing really pretentious and really hard to get into, and she's such like a choppy narrator, and you just don't trust her, and she doesn't give you enough information. So like, I just feel like I'm confused by her motives the entire time. Like, she'll like, oh, I need to go do this, and I'm like, where did you get like the idea to go do this? I don't know. And she doesn't tell you everything until like it's later. Like, she's telling you everything in the present day, but like you don't really know what's going on. Like, why is she going to this store? Like, why is she talking to this person? She like acts as if we already know, and it's definitely kind of confusing. Like, not only am I very confused, but it's not sci-fi at all. Like, right now it's kind of like a mystery thriller that's kind of like poorly done. And I did read the reviews for these, and I wanted to see, a lot of people felt the same way. And I know one review I read said that it takes up until like the last 75 pages for it to finally get to sci-fi. So I'm definitely kind of disappointed. I was really expecting some sci-fi. Anyway, so I'll update you as soon as I'm probably halfway through the book, because I'm either gonna DNF it or I'm gonna try and continue, and I'm leaning towards DNFing because it's taking me 3 days to get 90 pages. I did not end up DNFing this. I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm on page 262. I'm almost done. I have a little bit less than 100 pages left, and I'm gonna shoot to finish this today. I will not be bested by this book. I will finish it. I will definitely say that this book is better in the second half of the book, but the first half was enough to almost make me DNF it, obviously, and I looked up a lot of reviews for people, and they said the same exact thing. I'm not alone. They equally struggled. I feel like the first half of this is just really difficult to get into, and then the second half is like, You know, it gets better, but it's not great. It's palatable, but not worthy. I think the second half picks up steam because she basically decides to leave her family behind and go into hiding, and she's being followed by 2 different sets of bad guys. And I think that's just definitely adding like an element of action to it. I think that, you know, Jeff really writes action really well, but in terms of building the plot or building suspense, it was way too cryptic to actually build up to anything suspenseful. But now it's getting to like the action part that I find it a little more interesting. So I'm hoping I can finish this, and I really wish they had it on audio, but I cannot find it on Libby on audio for either one of my libraries, so I just have to trudge through it. So I'm gonna make some lemon chicken pasta for dinner, and hopefully I can finish this, and then I will give you an update. I did end up finishing this last night, and I didn't really like it. I'm gonna give it like a good 2 stars. It just did not hit. Ooh. These are a lot better. than this book. Okay. So, number one, I really was looking forward to a sci-fi thriller, and this was not a sci-fi thriller. This was more like a weak mystery, and then at the end, it's a little bit of a sci-fi thriller. Like, there's like one scene in the end that's like sci-fi, and like that's fucking it. Number two, did not love the character, and I don't know if she was meant to be unlikable, but like she was not even like likable in a little bit. Like, she was like the most callous, cold-hearted bitch, and I just didn't ever understand her motivation. Like, honestly, her motivations were completely lost to us as readers the entire time. Like, she's obviously obsessed with finding out the answers, but we don't even know why. Like, if I got a random taxidermied animal, I'd be like, cool, I'm gonna donate that, bye. Like, I would never like care enough to pursue some weird clue. It was just really unrealistic, especially since the main character did not know this woman and wasn't involved in this. It was just really odd. It's like you basically took a fucking woman off the street and was like, here's the dead animal. Not to mention, this woman like literally risks everybody's lives. People die, like bad things happen to people, and she doesn't like bat a fucking eye. Like, there's literally like one person she cared about, and it was not even like her family. I was like, okay. So, riddle me this. Why would a woman who doesn't care about her fellow human beings in the slightest embark on an expedition to like save the planet? What the fuck? That makes no sense. She's not even like a caring, like, you know, save the planet type of person. She literally doesn't give two shits. Anyway, the book in general was just way too hard to get into. The writing was like just not my thing, and I didn't really enjoy the story, so it's gonna get a good 2 stars from me, sis. So the next one that I'm going into is Holdout, and I am already 30% into this. I'm 30% in this, and actually I'm bored. So here's the tea. I didn't realize that both of these books in this reading vlog both deal with like climate change. I had no idea they're literally climate change sci-fis. Like, I'm honestly shook, but like when I got to that part in this book, I was like, I literally just picked like the same sci-fi book done completely differently. But Holdout does take place in space part of the time, and basically we're following our main character, and she is an astronaut, and right in the beginning, there's like an altercation where like they have to leave the International Space Station and she refuses. And she's doing it on protest because the Amazon rainforest is being burnt down. I did not realize that this was about like the Amazon rainforest or climate change or like eco-terrorism again. Like, I really had no idea, but they're literally such a similar premise, and I'm just kind of shook that I chose them. Like, I really was expecting like a total space thriller and another like sci-fi thriller. I knew it was about some like ecological stuff, but I mean, this is uncanny, bro. This is uncanny. And so far, this is not feeling like a space thriller. It's really feeling more like a political thriller, because we're kind of just seeing all the different like countries and stuff like threaten her, and she's trying to like politically figure this out. And the reason I think she's doing this too is that she has a niece who's actually in the Amazon rainforest, working down there as a doctor, and so she's like sending her the information back up because she like has dial-up internet so she can connect with her niece, and she's finding out like all these horrors through her niece. And I think that's why she's protesting. She's basically encouraging other people to protest. I think cool premise, but like I feel like there needs to be more story, and the fact that it's 30% in, I feel like I've already gotten like most of the story. Like, I'm just kind of right now. I was kind of bored in the beginning, like the first chapter, honestly I was kind of bored, and then I got interested, and now I'm bored again. And I just don't really know why. It's just like not keeping my interest in the slightest, and I keep like wanting to like look at other things. And again, it's like one of those things I really wish I had an audiobook, because sometimes like I can get through things that bore me a little bit more if I have an audiobook and I can like play Candy Crush or something while I'm in the middle of doing it. But it's just not capturing me at the moment. I don't know if it's bad. It's definitely a lot easier to read. You know, like the writing is normal writing. It's not like the cryptic, you know, shit of Vandermeer or whatever the heck his name is. But yeah, it's all right. It wasn't the space thriller I was wanting. I think that's also, I'm disappointed because both of them are not feeling like sci-fi thrillers, even though this one does take place a little bit in space. So that part is like fine, but it's really not like what I was expecting. I really thought that like a bunch of astronauts were killed, and now she's like she wanted answers, and she was gonna like out it to the whole world that you killed these people. How dare you kill my comrades or something? And that didn't happen. It's all about the Amazon rainforest, which I think is interesting, but I did not like know that when I went into this. So prepare yourself for a political ecological thriller again. So it's actually been 2 2 days since I last talked to you, and I did end up finishing Holdout, and I think I'm gonna give it a good 3.25 stars. I thought it was a great book for what it was, but it didn't always capture me. I personally am a big fan of space, but this book did not have a whole lot of space in it. I would say like 25 to 30% of this book takes place in space, and I actually found some of the space parts kind of boring. When it got too technical, I kind of checked out, and I think that this guy did a lot of great research, but for me, for some reason, it just didn't connect, and it just felt too technical and clinical. At some of the more emotional points in the novel, I actually ended up feeling something and being invested, and I feel like it got too technical or too nitty-gritty into the politics, which I usually really enjoy politics. It kind of bored me, and I'd kind of skim it. I think especially with how the story was told, and we were seeing from like all perspectives at once in like the same kind of chapters, it just kind of was very disjointed, and I feel like it personally could have benefited if it had like specific chapters for different viewpoints. Sometimes a little more organization in the story helps me organize it up here, and I feel like since we moved from different viewpoints so fluidly, and it wasn't like Frederick Bachman fluid, it felt disjointed, it felt clunky, it didn't always work for the story. But I really think this would be a fantastic silver screen adaptation, and I think that this book should definitely be made into a film, and I know it would be a very big hit, like Gravity level hit. I feel like it would be a great environmental socio-political thriller, and I think it would work really well. If you're looking for that space itch, it definitely helped a little bit for my space itch, which I would say is pretty much almost constantly happening, and some books just scratch it and some just don't, and it scratched it a little bit. I definitely didn't get as much space as I wanted, and the space that I did get was a little too technical and boring. I think it was just the writing style of this book. It was just kind of detached. I felt a little detached from everything. It just didn't really feel like I was there. I just felt like I was watching a movie. And I think that's why this would adapt well to that. I would definitely say out of Hummingbird, Salamander, and Holdout obviously was my favorite book out of the two, and it did get the better rating. I just think it worked better. It was a little more interesting, and it did give me that space thing that I was looking for, a little bit more that sci-fi that actually made sense. So the winner of this is going to be Holdout. Let me know down below if you have any sci-fi suggestions for me, because I'm definitely looking to expand my repertoire of sci-fi, and I have read, quite a bit compared to other people, but it's definitely something that I would like to explore in more detail. All right, thank you guys so much. Like and subscribe, and talk to you next time. Bye!